station that is Victoria Show. So, good evening, distinguished colleagues, respected members, and everyone joining us online. I'm honored to be present and to talk on a topic that quietly shapes the future of our society. But before answering the question, I would like to give uh, a detailed appreciation to my mother for her modeling advice and guidance, Miss Jennifer Hambani Ali. Thank you very much, ma. The question is, why is violence prevention missing from our national education and parenting policy? So answer to that, violence prevention is often missing from our national education and parental policies in Nigeria, mainly because violence has been normalized, prevention is not prioritized, and systems are weak. Firstly, in many Nigerian homes and schools, corporal punishment is seen as normal discipline. For example, a child may be flogged for poor performance. So policies rarely challenge this as, as violence that should be prevented. Secondly, the education system focuses more on exams than behavior. Students are punished for fighting, but they are not taught conflict resolution, emotional control. Thirdly, policies exist but are poorly implemented. For instance, bullying in school is often ignored as and treated as students play instead of being prevented early. Finally, violence prevention is missing because it is culturally accepted, not systematically taught, and weakly enforced. To move forward, Nigeria must shift from punishment to prevention through education and awareness. Thank you very much for listening. So this is what I have for this wonderful and very important question. Thank you very much for listening.
All right. Thank you so much, sir. I'm so sorry I was logged out by the network. I really appreciate what you said. Really brief and direct. And one major part that struck a chord within me was the fact you said that schools are concerned about exams than behavior. That's very correct. You find out, especially more in private schools, children misbehave, they do anyhow, which is bad. And another thing you said is the policy is not being implemented because we've come to realize that in our nation we have so much policies, but which is being implemented. Thank you so much, sir. I really appreciate what you said, and it's a very nice one. Thank you so much. To the next speaker, before we move to the next speaker, we've been able to unpack the challenges. So let's just make a little shift of our focus to solutions and what intentional change could look like. So, Mr. Mustafa, over to you. Can you hear me, Mr. Mustafa?
Yes, I can hear you. Thank you so
All
much for
right.
the opportunity.
Thank you, sir. What
I'm
would it
only
take to make empathy, respect, and non-violence core learning outcome in schools?
well, Mr. Sam, thank you very much, and thank you for having me tonight. I think before talking thoroughly about the question or answering the questions, and I think there's need for us to fill a gap because sometimes if you can see the nature of our education now, especially here in Nigeria or let me say the north, we usually prioritize mathematics and sometimes the languages than the behavior because turning empathy, respect, and non-violence into core learning outcomes isn't just about adding a subject. It requires reshaping how school teach, measure access, and model behavior. If it's treated as a side topic, it will stick and it has to be built into a system itself. And to just briefly define what I mean here is that um, right now, schools rigorously assess math and language, as I say just, but treat behavior and informal. That's the first gap that we need to fill up. And frameworks like social and emotional learning show how to translate values into skills. Perspective taking and active listening, that's the empathy, and that of respect, inclusive communication and tolerance. And non-violence, conflict resolution, and emotional regulation. And sometimes when we say behavior, So, especially the teachers focus more on teaching than acting themselves. And nowadays, our students usually focus on what the teachers do than what they teach them. So I think this is the first gap that we need to fill up to achieve. These are just short words that I have to say. Thank you.
All right. Thank you so much for that very brief and powerful point. I was reading a book of recent by John Maxwell on leadership, and he spoke very clearly that leadership is not all about speaking, but more about acting. That followers learn from what they see, not just children. So if the teachers fail to show empathy to their fellow teachers or even to the children, then I'm sure that vacuum will be there. But if the teachers can be responsible enough to act in empathy, the students will definitely emulate them. Thank you so
That's
much, sir. Thank you, everybody. Thank you, Mr. Mustafa. Thank you, Mr. Usman. We really love and appreciate you. So, real quick, before we ask for your final words or your final thoughts on this, I'd just like to speak to the audience to please write down their questions. If you have any questions, any contribution as regarding the topic, feel free to drop it on the chat box, and also write your email address so we can follow up and send a feedback form so you can help us feel and we know how to serve you better. Can do well to drop that in the chat box. So, Mr. Usman Rawan, what's your final word on this? What's your final word to the audience as regarding why violence prevention is missing from our national education? I'll mute the mic now, sir. You can go on.
Ah, violence prevention is missing because it is culturally accepted, not systematically taught, and weakly enforced. So to move forward, Nigeria must shift from punishment to prevention through education and awareness. Of course, we have to, they said that charity begins at home. So we have to teach our children how to prevent violence, then then to show them that if they did this, we are going to punish them. It is better we show them prevention of violence than, than giving them punishment always. Because when you continuously punishing a child, it will not solve the problem. It will only worsen the situation. So I call teachers, I call parents, they should, teach children how to prevent violence than just to punish them. Thank you very much for having me. Thank you, sir.
All right. Thank you, sir. There's a famous saying that says charity begins at home, and the child is the responsibility of the parents first before the responsibility of the school. Thank you so much. Mr. Mustafa, over to you. What's your final say on this subject matter, sir?
Well, my final say, Mr. Sam, is the hard truth. Because, making empathy and non-violence a core outcome is not a quick or a
Eh?
cheap something. It's not something
Yeah,
that
we
is
are
cheap.
not going to go
Can you hear me,
to
please?
Let me correct you,
Are you with me, please?
Yes, I can hear you, sir. Thank you so
So,
much.
as I was saying, empathy and non-violence core outcome is not quick or cheap. It has challenges, long-standing system that prioritize exam scores over character development. But the threat of is clear. School can either produce high scores who struggle with social responsibility or well-rounded individual who contributed to the stability. And sometimes I do wonder if report card will include punctuality. Why not including the behavioral part of that particular person? And I think if we can be, including this, this will change the narrative. And of course, the behavior of the student can also be changed. So that's my take on this. Thank you.
All right. Thank you so much, sir. Thank you, everyone, for being on call. Please, it's time for question and answer. If you have a question, do raise your hand and you'll be given time to speak. And also feel free to drop it on the chat box and also drop your email address on the chat box, please. All right, over to you, ma'am. Miss Margaret. Please, over to you.
All right, thank you very much, Sam. Thank you, our wonderful speakers, Mr. Usma and Mr. Mustafa. People have done really, yeah, really done justice to the topic. And in all this, what I just have to say is all these comes with the early conditioning of a child and upbringing, and then the behavioral changes when it comes. And what are we supposed to do? We have to catch them young by um teaching them how to respect one another, how to act, how to hold still, not to act fast when someone annoys you or offends you. So before the first blow, what did they think? Like hitting someone before they hit their peers or their friends or someone that have offended them, what were they thinking first, or what they know earlier before now? So we have to teach them how to react to when someone annoys them or when they are not happy about something. They have to think, to hold on before reacting. So this even because these days in schools, for me, I don't know, it's just God that will help parents, because I can't see when a child will be wrong and a teacher will try to correct that child, and this child goes home to go and report to the parent without, now the parent, some parent, without trying to ask the child, what did you do before your teacher spank you or your teacher punished you? Some parents don't do that, and then they go straight up to calling the school authority, and they come after the teacher to the point some teachers are being sacked, some teachers are being beaten, some teachers are being locked up in the police cell just because they tried to correct a child. And then you see these children feeling like, okay, it's the right thing to do. When somebody annoys me, I have to retaliate immediately and violently, which is very wrong. Just the same thing some parents talk to their maids in the house or their helps in the house and scold them in front of these children when a child come and report. And you're supposed to, okay, ask the child what happened. You talk about it and then go back, okay, even though you feel the elderly person is wrong by doing that, you don't have to scold the person in presence of the child. You don't have to scold the you don't have to do to scold the person in front of the child, because tomorrow that child will feel that, oh, it's right, meanwhile the child is wrong, and then they don't scold the child. They just free the child and then go on um scolding the elderly person. A school in Abuja here, I don't want to mention this school. A child, the woman, so the guy with the baby, the child was a child, a son to a military personnel, and he used to bully his classmates. They keep on reporting, complaining. So one day the principal called him to the office and said, why do you like bullying your peers, your mates? Don't do that again. He just used two fingers to spank this boy, say on his hand, said, don't do that again. And this child went to paint his story at home to the parent. And the lady, the mother, came to the school with entourage of army people. Hey, who is that? Who beat my child? He did that and did that. And the proprietors of the school called. And in fact, they came in, nobody could stop them. They beat this man. This man it was not an age man, it was a man of 50 something. They beat this man up. The man said, no, I am sorry. I didn't beat this child. I only corrected him. I only scolded him. Asked him, I didn't beat. He said, what do you mean? Do you know what it takes me to get this child? I'm sorry I'm taking this so long, but it's so painful. Do you know that they beat that man till that man got internal injury? That man died some days afterwards. And what happens? That child saw that they beat that. So these are the behaviors that if we even adults are behaving around these children, they will see it. And even them, what they see in their peers. So we have to relate with our children and ask them questions time to time, see how they behave and tell them what you are doing is wrong. We have to correct them. Not this generation, they say you can't beat a child. Before, they'll beat you, you'll see it. But these days, they don't beat a child. That's sparing the rod and spoiling the child. So please, what we take home today, even though we're not taking it, let's see the early condition of these children and their behavioral changes and tend to correct them accordingly. If we, our parents, could train us to be this good, to be able to be who we are today, that people will be proud of us. We are not miscreant. We are, we are good people in the society. Then why are we leaving our children? Why are we training our children to be sports brats? So please, let's try to imbibe good characters and behaviors in our children, and even our neighbors and nephews and cousins and people around us, but to do it with love and care. Thank you very much, everyone.
All right. Thank you so much, Ma. Thank you for your contribution. You spoke everything well, loud and clear. Thank you so much. So, anybody with any other contribution, any other question, please do well to show with a raise of hand, and also send your email on the chat box, please. Thank you. Okay, ma'am. Miss Angela, you can go on, ma'am.
Okay, good
Go on,
evening,
go ahead.
everyone. Our wonderful speakers, participants on this call. I want to appreciate you for the wonderful contributions to the topic of the. I just want to add to what the two speakers have said, and then also to what our director of operations have also added. You know, in addition to the early conditioning, it starts from the house. It starts from when a child is even yet to be able to start speaking. And it's okay for us to have or initiate a body language or
Jana ake shiga ne.
how do they call this thing? Yes, body language communications
Nan da ma
with
bari ma
our
zan
own
fara da shi
children,
ta faɗa.
such that even when you don't verbally correct them, they should be able to know that, okay, this thing I am about to do, by my mom's expressions or my elders' expressions around me, it doesn't seem too well with them, and so I should stop that. There are children on the street, you interact with them, you get to see them do things, and they look at you, lock eyes with you, and they don't get to retrace from their own steps. And you, like, their parents are there, they don't get to correct them, they don't even get to see anything wrong about that. According to them, there's a certain level they expect these children to get to before they will start training them. Training has to start from when your child is even have not even started speaking. You integrate the values in them, you let them know the good and the bad, you show them your expressions. It's not when a child slaps you jokingly and then you say, oh, that is how these children are. No, by the time you let them do that and get away with that, it will grow and manifest into applying it on someone else on the streets. Back again, you have children, you shouldn't let gender norms divide you or separate you or give you roles as to which you ascribe to your male or female children. Let the responsibilities be shared accordingly, and let them know that it is okay for a male child to help in the kitchen, and it is okay for the female child to go to school. By the time we have these norms addressed, the norms we have made to be that which is the directives to the society, by the time we have them readdressed and we are cautioned, and these children get to grow with this early conditioning, just like you mentioned, I think it will go a long way in having these children come back to the roots of discipline and then good upbringing. Thank you very much.
So much. Thank you so much, Ma, for that contribution. You are really, really, really appreciated. Any other person with any other contribution, please send in your contributions, your questions, and your comments. Okay. So, in the absence of any other question, I'd like to call on Miss Margaret Adatso to give her closing remark on behalf of the executive director.
Okay, yes, I'm here. Thank you very much, Sam, and our speakers and our contributors, Miss Wado. Thank you very much for that wonderful contribution. It has been a good one. So, as we bring this section to a close, I want to sincerely appreciate everyone who made time to be part of this important dialogue. Tonight has reminded us that the future of our society is deeply connected to the values we choose to patronize today at home, in our schools, and in our policies. We've had powerful insights and thoughtful perspective on how we can bring and how we can begin truly imbibe empathy, respect, and nonviolence into the way we raise and educate our children. But the real impacts of this conversation will not be measured by what was said here today. It will be measurable by what we do next. Let let this not be the end as just another discussion, but as a starting point for reflection, action, and meaningful change in our communities. On behalf of the organizers and the panelists, thank you once again for your time, your energy, and your commitment to building a safer, more compassionate society. Have a great evening, and let's keep the conversation going beyond this space. Thank you very much, everyone.
All right. Thank you so much, everyone. Thank you, Mr. Usman. Thank you, Mr. Janjuma. Thank you, everyone, for making our time to be on this call. Miss E.G. Veronica, I see you. I celebrate you. Mr. Johnny Abado, I celebrate you, sir. Miss Clarice, Miss everybody, I celebrate everybody on this call. You people are special and you made this event what is. Thank you so much and do have a blessed evening. Good night.